The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening and welcome. This is Paul Perez, District 5960 Governor for this year. And thank you for joining us for this District Training Assembly, doing it by webinar. We used to do these, and usually it was in person, but we got away from that. But just as it's important for us to make sure our presidents are ready for their roles, it's just as important that other club leaders of the different areas are prepared as well. So that's why we brought these back. So thank you for joining us. With me tonight, we have Carol Weigel, past district governor, and also the district trainer. And we have Ed Merrick, district governor-elect. He's going to facilitate. If you have any questions, we're going to have people muted, but we'll have time to ask questions later. But you can ask a question within the webinar, and Ed will be watching that. And then also we have Greg Bartz, who is the district membership team lead, and he's going to do the presentation today. So I'm going to turn it over to him.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks, Paul. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being with us and spending your time. We had our first webinar yesterday, and it was kind of a trial run, and I think it went very well. It was well attended, and my hope is that it was beneficial to the attendees. So again, I'm hoping tonight will be good for you guys, and we can go through some suggestions and talking about our membership, and in the end have some opportunities for questions and get you in tune and acclimated to all the resources that are available to help with building your membership within your club. I'd like to go into this, and I did last night also, that kind of defining members and who are Rotary members, and what is membership all about. You and I are members of Rotary International. Without us, there are no Rotary clubs, there's no Rotary district, there's no Rotary zones, and there's no Rotary International. And I think if we simplify it and really understand that we are the blood of Rotary International. So I know a lot of individuals that are Rotarians in my club and elsewhere don't really understand the structure and don't understand all the resources available and the reach that this organization has in our communities and around the world. So it is pretty exciting, and I guess I'd like to take that attitude into this. Hey, you know, this is about us. We should be excited about this. We're members. We have seen membership decline over the last number of years. It just has been. It is what it is. And is it a societal change? Is it us? What is it? We're seeing it across the board in all service organizations. So it's not only Rotary International, but other groups are also seeing declines in their membership. Our district had membership in the year 2011 of 3,053. We've been over 3,000 members. Today we stand at 2,713. We have a ways to go, but I am confident and on a mission, frankly, to build our membership to get back to levels they've been to in the past. I believe in humanity. I believe in people, and I believe that people would like to help. We just need to get out and find them. So with that, we're here this evening to talk to you about attracting new members, but also engaging our existing members. That's a big issue. We need to make sure that our existing members are engaged in Rotary and understand what we're all about and the far-reaching tentacles of Rotary in our communities and around the world. Last year, we as a district had a strategic planning panel that was put together to put together a 5-year strategic plan for our District 5960. In that, our core values were defined as fun, service, integrity, leadership, inclusion, and innovation. These values were debated. There was some discussions on whether service should be first or if fun should be first, and I was advocating very strongly that, you know what, we know we're a service organization. Why don't we be the fun service organization? You know, we are all busy people wrapped up in our lives and our businesses, and there's a lot of bad things going on in the world that we need to help correct, and might as well have fun with it, guys. You know, that's what it comes down to in the end. And anyhow, I'm happy that our values are what they are, and I'm happy they're in the order that they are, with fun first. Additionally, we talked about our strategic priorities for the district with the foundation, with public image, and with membership. And we're here tonight, obviously, to talk about membership. So our job as a district support group is to help clubs develop strategies to attract new members and to help clubs develop strategies to engage new members. We're here to promote the ideas of clubs reflecting diversity in their communities, innovation in their clubs, and also to talk to you about expanding clubs in our district by creating brand new clubs. We also set a goal, and this is a new goal that we set last fall, of 3,000 members by the year 2020. We're going to give ourselves the entire 2020. We didn't put a deadline or a start date in 2020, but we've been there before. As I mentioned, our membership today. So my hope is that you'll see this sign, this 3,000 members by 2020, frequently at functions that the district has. And really it comes down to we each need to embrace this, get the word out, have fun with it, and remind ourselves that, you know what, if we each bring somebody, we're going to do this easily. And we really have to make the ask. And that's what this comes down to. The majority of us were asked to be members of a Rotary Club somewhere. And if we weren't asked, we probably wouldn't be Rotary members today. There are a few individuals that find us on their own, but it's typically, you know, somebody asked me to be a Rotarian, and I'm grateful for that. So really it comes back to each of us bringing someone into Rotary, making sure they understand what Rotary is all about, and then making the ask of them. This is another graphic that I'm hoping that we'll see frequently. We kind of, because we're remote, okay, we're in different locations everywhere from Rice Lake to Rochester to Mankato. We're all over the place in the East Metro and in eastern and southern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. So my hope with this was that if we have a monthly inspiration or vision to our members, that they understand the goal of 3,000 by 2020. They understand where we are today at 2713, and they'll take ownership in this. And consequently, they'll go out and they'll invite someone. As we say, this is the easiest thing we can do, is just invite someone. Think about someone you know that shares Rotary values of service above self and invite them. We need to be persistent with this, but there are people out there that are waiting to be invited, and our Rotarians at heart just waiting to be asked. So please look for this. I'm hoping that this will be sent out yet this week to every single member in our district. And the reason for that, I wanted this to go to every member, not just leadership within clubs. I want to make sure everybody sees this. Now, whether they open the email or not, I don't know. But if there's a member in your club in Winona, and that person invites someone, and next month our number goes to 2714, my hope is that that person will take ownership in having participated and helped us reach our goal of 3,000 by 2020. Okay, now who are we looking for? You take a look at this, and this is kind of a mess, okay? This is anyone. So simplify your ask. We're not looking for any specific vocation. We are looking for people that want to help one another. Service above self. What I try to remind myself of, if I come across somebody in my everyday walk of life and in my business or wherever I happen to be, and somebody asks to help, that person's potentially a Rotarian, okay? And so think about that. How simple is that? If somebody says, hey, can I help you? Okay, maybe if it's the clerk at the convenience store, maybe not so much, but be creative, think about it. It doesn't have to be a CEO or a president of a company or a business owner. Anyone that wants to help one another and has our values is a potential candidate to become a Rotarian. Okay, and then you have to ask yourself, well, is Rotary attractive? Is my club attractive? Think about that, and think about looking in the mirror and asking yourself, well, what do we offer? What do we have in my club? I've been a Rotarian for 20 years. I am sold on the White Bear Lake Rotary Club. But I've been to other clubs too, and they're equally as nice as mine and friendly. But there are a few that I've been to on occasion that I didn't feel welcome. I don't say I didn't feel welcome, but I wasn't welcomed initially when I walked in the door. So anyway, each club has its own personality. It is what it is, and that's what's unique about Rotary too. There's some guidelines and some suggestions, but you know what? It comes down to the personality of the people in the club. And each club is not perfect for every Rotarian. So we have opportunities to shop around. So think about that too. There's a little bit of a competition here. If you're in the metro area here, and you've got 3 or 4 different Rotary clubs in your area, my suggestion to anyone that's embarking into the Rotary world to check out more than one club, look around. But again, we have to take this seriously then, and we have to sell ourselves. It's what do we want to be? Does my club reflect me? And so even to the website, okay, what does your website look like? I'm not very techie. Our website's pretty good, I think, but again, there may be some improvements. This is the new wave. If you're a younger person, you're looking at websites all day long, and this is what you do. So it's very important, if you're trying to attract someone to your club, that your website is going to be appealing to them. And then you ask yourself, well, who is our Rotary Club? What is our member makeup? Are we diverse? And again, that's one of our strategic initiatives, is to diversify. Are we welcoming? I just mentioned that. That is critical. First impressions are everything. And you think about that. If somebody walks into your Rotary Club for the first time, they may have been on the Rotary International website, heard about your club, and just walked in to check it out. And if you walk into that room and you don't feel welcome, you're probably not coming back. So again, first impressions are everything. My club, I think we do a pretty good job. We have 2 greeters each week that are assigned to be there and to greet people as they walk in the door. I've been to clubs where I walk in and I've stood there for a couple minutes before anyone even approached me to say hello. And I do that intentionally. You know, I'll go in and I'll just kind of stand there and see what happens. So think about that. It's so simple, but it's critical. First impressions are everything. And then when you get into barriers, when do you meet? Where do you meet? Does it work? You know, we are busy people. If you can't make a lunch meeting, maybe it's not going to work. So it's important that we all remember that too, that if we have somebody that approaches us and is interested in Rotary, and you tell them your meeting is on Wednesday mornings at 7 o'clock, they say, oh, you know, I have a staff meeting every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. We need to help one another. In that person inquire about Rotary, they're interested, but they can't make your Rotary meeting, send them somewhere else. Send them to me. I'll find a club for them. We need to make sure we do everything we can to assist those individuals that have inquired. They're inquisitive. They're just looking. They have no idea what this is maybe, but we don't want them to turn and walk away only because we meet at the wrong time and doesn't fit their schedule. Cost is a big deal, can be a big deal. Whoops, sorry. There we go. Oh, my apologies there. Is your club affordable? My club has been, we charge for breakfast every week, whether I'm there or not. And I'm questioning that now and want to know, is that fair to all concerned? Is it fair that I pay for breakfast when I'm traveling out of town? I've been a Rotarian again for 20 years. That's been the case. You know, it is what it is. It's a revenue source for the club. I get that. And I'm happy to support, and I can. Financially, it's not a problem for me. But is it right? Is it okay? Is it fair to all concerned? Are there people that look at that going, you know what, this is a pretty big cost to me, and that's an additional cost that I don't think is fair. So I've asked my club to look at that this year and really do an analysis of whether or not charging for breakfast up front, or whether or not the Rotarian makes it is fair to all concerned. Last night's webinar, Pat, I'm not sure where Pat was from, but a question she had in the end was, when I told the story about my club charging for breakfast, whether you're there or not, she says, you know what, I wouldn't join your club. Well, that's important, and I was very happy to hear that, because that's information I need to hear to take back to my club and say, you know what, Pat would not be become a member of my club because we charge for breakfast whether or not you're here each week. Anyway, and again, our breakfast is pretty reasonable, okay? And it's a good breakfast, it's a great location. But if our members don't want that anymore, majority rules here, we need to make changes. We need to be accommodating. We need to be flexible. We need to be nimble. We need to make sure that we're providing the services to our members that they want. Okay, let's think about the fun again. We talked about our core value number one was fun. This is just a neat little slide that I wanted to call out Austin Rotary Club. They have a trivia night on occasion. So these are an opportunity to get people, non-Rotarians, engaged. First of all, this is a great idea to get your own members engaged, but if you're open to it, would this be something where you could bring somebody from the outside in, prospective member to come in and have fun at a trivia night? I went to a Rotaract trivia event at a microbrew, and it was a blast. It was really a lot of fun. So again, just one example here again of an idea that a Rotary Club is using, and invite someone, have it open to the public, advertise it, and get some people to come in the door and have a nice time. Okay, criteria here. Again, don't overcomplicate this. Make it simple. We're Rotarians. We follow the four-way test. This is our creed. We should just use this as our basis to find new people. And I use this all the time, the four-way test in my business. You know, I ask myself these questions every single day to confirm that I'm following the Rotary Creed. Our values again, we're looking for people that have good character, good reputation, and willingness to serve. It's got nothing to do with money. So remember that again. We're looking for people that want to help one another. Okay, where do we find future Rotarians? Look amongst ourselves. Okay, how about youth exchange? If your club participates in youth exchange, go back through your archived students. They go back years maybe. White Bear Lake's been doing this for 40 years. We're in the process of putting together a database trying to locate some of these people, some of these young people in the day that were outbound students. They're no longer young people maybe, but they're potential Rotarians. So think about that. There's a little work, a little homework to do in that. But if you have, I know that Vicky's on here, and Northfield's got a wonderful youth exchange program, and I'm curious to hear, Vicky, if you guys leverage your youth exchange students from the past or host families that you've had in the past. Are you inviting them to become Rotarians? The host families that have had these students in the past, they could potentially be Rotarians. Rotaract clubs. Rotaract is, as you know, probably our younger Rotarians, equal to Rotary now. Okay, they've been acknowledged by Rotary International as Rotarians. They just happen to be a little bit younger than we are. Listen to them. If we're looking for some younger people, listen to them. They have good insight. They'll tell you. They can't afford a $35 breakfast or lunch that, I don't know if there's anybody in our district that charges that, but Santa Monica does in California, and there are clubs around the country and the world that charge a lot of money. Well, that's maybe not going to work for a Rotaractor. So think about that. Maybe they can't meet at 7 a.m. But think about who the Rotaractors have been. We've introduced them to Rotary through Rotaract. My hope is that wherever they go in their lives, as their careers change, they will seek out Rotary somewhere in the world. Okay, so think about us. Think about your own clubs. Go back through your decks of Rotarians that have been in your club and left for whatever reason, I don't know. But think about that and go back, you know, whatever you have to do, and reach out again. And maybe there's an opportunity there. Maybe at that point in their lives, they had other issues that came up, I don't know, and had to leave Rotary for one reason or the other. Maybe they're in a better place today, and maybe today is their opportunity to get back into Rotary if you make the ask. Reach out to them and say, hey, you know what, we'd love to have you come back and check us out again. Could you do that? Breakfast is on us. RILA, wonderful program. Participants of RILA, where are they? Same thing as youth exchange. Let's go back and check the data banks on that and go back to them. Where are those young people? They were movers and shakers. leaders that have moved on, and we need to go back and ask them. Say, hey, where are you at in your life today? Would you be interested in Rotary today? Lastly, interact in our schools, in the high schools. Make that connection again. Talk to the interact organizers, or I know that White Bear Lake and Matamina high schools have staff. Maybe the staff members, the interactors, maybe not yet, they're still in high school, but our hope is to educate them on Rotaract, and consequently, this is our pipeline, this is our farm team here. We need to fill the pipeline all the time. We can do that through Interact, and that'll help us long term. Okay, young professionals. I don't want this to all be about young people, okay? But it's important that we understand that we're all aging. And you know what? We're all aging at the same rate. I don't care if you're 1 year old or 100 years old, you're still aging at the same rate. But our membership has been in decline. If we continue to recruit older people, which is fine, I don't care if they're 20 or 100. If they have an interest in serving, that's who we're looking for, period. But if everybody we bring in is 90 years plus, we're going to work a whole lot harder, okay, as we continue to prospect for new Rotarians. So think about young professionals. Who are they? Millennials, what are they looking for? I believe they would like to be involved. I really do. I can't believe that anybody, I have faith in humanity, frankly, and I'm convinced that I haven't quite figured them out yet, and I've got a couple of them in my household, my boys, that they're different, they're techie, you know, this kind of stuff. So we have to be cognizant of that and understand what they're looking for. I know that my oldest son and my middle son need help finding jobs. I mean, they're qualified, but so to use Rotary as a networking opportunity, don't poo-poo that for young people. Young professionals need that. They need mentors. We can help them with that. So be aware of that also. I know in the White Bear Lake Rotary, we kind of frowned years ago about new members coming in and passing out business cards and trying to sell their services. Okay, I think we need to look at that again, back to looking in the mirror here and asking ourselves, well, is that, yeah, we don't want somebody coming in all the time just to solicit new business. That's not what this is about. But a young person who's just getting involved in their professional business or careers, yeah, there's no reason we can't help them, and we should be helping them. So keep that in mind, please. All right, club engagement. This is critical. We have new people come in to our fold, and we want them to stay. We have a young man in my club that has given notice. He's 33 years old. I brought him into the club. Wonderful. Wonderful young man. He's Rotary material. I know he is. I think I brought him in too soon. And he needs to resign already. He's only been here for a few months. And anyway, money was an issue to him. I misled him initially. It didn't matter to me. I got the means. It wasn't a big deal. He asked me, we had got together for a beer, and I was talking to this young man, and he asked what cost. And he said, it's, you know, I don't know. If you don't buy the breakfast and you do this, it's a few $100 a year. It's not that big a deal. Well, I get the first invoice, and the first invoice was double what I thought it was. I didn't pay any attention, and I didn't understand. And then, so anyway, I was a little remiss on my part to mislead him. Money was an issue. He's got two young kids, 5 and 2 years old, and he's got another baby on the way here in September, and he's not ready. I mean, he's overwhelmed with his career at this time. So anyway, engaging this young man, did I do a good enough job engaging him? I don't know that I did right out of the chute. But I'll follow back up with him, and my intentions are to, he's still Rotary material, but it might not be today. Anyhow, back to engaging other members. Think about people on the periphery in your club. There are those of us that are very engaged, get to all the service projects, are always there, and but we have a number of members too that are not. And those are the ones that we need to make sure we pull into the fold, because those are the ones that don't understand what Rotary is all about, or they're not here for the right reasons maybe. I'm not sure, but it's incumbent upon us to reach out to them and make sure that they fully understand what Rotary is all about. Okay, so engaging, showing value. Okay, when we engage new members, inductions, a meaningful induction ceremony is very, very important. We need to make sure that person understands that we value them as a new Rotarian in our clubs. We should invite their families to be there to see the induction. We need to have a new member orientation. That needs to be facts and understanding of what is expected of them. Again, this is part of my miss with the Rotarian, young Rotarian I kind of blew it on here. I don't know that he knew until he got this orientation. All of a sudden, he was overwhelmed. Our club started doing something too last year with our president and president-elect having an intimate luncheon with new members. And so my suggestion is do this semi-annually, have the top leadership within your club, take the 3 or 4, whatever it is, the new Rotarians maybe it's quarterly, half a year, whatever it is, out for breakfast or out for lunch, and have a one-on-one conversation so they really have a good understanding of, and you can answer questions that they may have that they might not be asking, and they feel value in that, I think. White Bear Lake Rotary 2 has a new mentoring program that we just have developed, and we've had a training session for our mentors, and we're going to start assigning mentees. My hope is that we can roll this out to the district after we get it going a little bit here and have a little track record to make sure that it's working well. The passport program is a checklist of things that are that the mentor is responsible for with the mentee. One of those things on the checklist is to take them out to a 501. White Bear Lake has a 501 every Friday evening at a local watering hole, and there's always someone there. So that in the mentoring program, you have to take your mentee to a 501 once in the first 3 months of their membership, just to introduce those people in a casual environment. Make sure you invite them to join a team. Okay, sorry, Paul, I still got committee on there, and that sounds like Kyle's on. I gotta get that committee word off there. Get them and join a team, be it an international or a community service or a club service or one of the teams within your club. Get them engaged, and that information should come through the new member orientation, and have them choose a team to be on. Service projects, obviously, get them engaged in all service projects right out of the chute. Here's some ideas and suggestions. This is the Mounds View New Brighton Club. They have an Easter egg hunt. This too, it's a fun event in the community. Community's welcome to be there. You've got kids, you got their parents. In this case, the parents are prospective Rotarians. They brought their kids to this fun event. Who is this Rotary thing? Be prepared to hand out information at these fun events, and hand it out to people. And if you have somebody, a parent again, or whomever says, hey, can I help you set up? Can I help you take down? That is a clue right there. They ask to help. Say, yes, you can. You know what? We do a lot of help to other people. How about you check us out sometime? Come and see what we do. White Bear Lake, this is something we started doing. We have our 3rd blood drive coming up here. This is easy. Any club can do this, any size, any location. Partner with the Red Cross. They will do all the legwork for you. They'll get you the signage. You find a location. They'll help advertise this. It's a great opportunity for you to get your members engaged in a service project that's going to help other people. And think about those individuals that come to this as donors. They're doing the donation for a reason, and they get it. These are right in our wheelhouse, people. I mean, the people that come in here. So what we've done in the past, coincidentally, our location, the White Bear Lake Armory, is right above the Big Wood Brewery. So what we've done is had a fun little angle on this. We've give us a pint, we'll get you a pint. And you give us a pint, we'll buy you a pint downstairs at Big Wood Brewery after you give blood. And we do that. And this is to anyone. So somebody that comes in off the street or that's recruited by the Red Cross comes in, donates blood at our event. We send them downstairs for a beer, and we have a conversation with them about who we are in Rotary. And again, you don't have to be a club of 200 or 100 people. You could be a club of 20 and easily put on a blood drive in your community. Taproom tours, Kyle. This is a great idea that Kyle had. during his governorship and do this kind of thing. We've done this in the White Bear Lake, again, at Bigwood Brewery, sponsored it, and had our Rotarians bring a friend, bring a coworker, bring somebody after work, and come on in and have a beer on the White Bear Lake Rotary Club. Great opportunity to introduce them in a social setting to Rotary. It's another event that the White Bear Lake Rotary Club has done. It's a fun event, community-wide, to raise money for the White Bear Lake Food Shelf, golf on ice, and I think there's only one gal in the car here that is a Rotarian, but there's prospects right there. Okay, shame on us for not pulling more of those people into the fold. But again, this is a fun activity where the community is invited. Great opportunity to recruit new Rotarians. Hats off to Prior Lake for their event here last weekend. It sounds like it was a wonderful event again, and Paul mentioned that they had a public service announcement at this event in front of thousands of people talking about Prior Lake Rotary and Rotary in general and what happens and what we do. That's great. The trickle down here, the exposure we get from a public image standpoint is huge. So thank you guys for that. Leverage these opportunities to talk about who we are in Rotary. We should be proud. We are proud of who we are and what we do. We need to say it and tell it, shout it out. White Bear Lake 2, this is our annual big fundraiser. This sells out every year, and we've had as many as 700 people. We've maxed out our ticket sales, and our vendors can't serve enough food, so we have to cap it at some point. Anyway, this is another great opportunity for us to get exposure. It's great for public image. We have a group of people from the community that are having a nice time. We need to do a better job of having information available and talking to people at this event. We have t-shirts on, all of our members are there, and we walk around and we've passed out free breakfast cards. Come and meet us, come and see us. Come on Wednesday morning, love to have you. Anyhow, just another idea, something that we do. Okay, your elevator speech. It's easy if you have a story, okay? People get concerned about this. What do I say? How do I talk about Rotary? Make it personal. We all have a story. I've got a rich 20-year history of being a Rotarian, and it's easy for me because of my experiences with Rotary. And that has a lot to do with our youth exchange program. Here's a picture of Sandy and I in Norway in the end of May, before on our way to Hamburg for the International Convention, meeting Bitta and her family. We stayed them with a couple days, and went on from there to The Hague in the Netherlands, and met Martin Pisinger and his wife and their 2-year-old son with the Minnesota Wild t-shirt on that we gave him. And they are actually from the Czech Republic. And Martin is a diplomat for the Czech government at The Hague. And we stayed with them for a couple days. My family, we have these relationships all over the world, and it's fascinating to me that I can make a phone call, and within 24 hours I can have a connection somewhere in the world. If I'm traveling there tomorrow, I don't care where it is, we'll make a connection through Rotary. It's a huge, wonderful experience. And again, this is part of my Rotary story. And, you know, this organization has changed my life. It's changed the lives of my family. Lastly, I don't want to be remiss here. I would be if I didn't mention Tooms. Tooms Malmeister is actually from Latvia. He came over from Riga because we didn't quite get there. We went to Norway and the Netherlands, and then on to Germany, and we just didn't have the time to spend a couple days over in Latvia. I said, well, I'll come to you. So he came over, and he was a youth exchange student in 2005. And he now has a microbrew of his own in Riga. So anyway, that's Tooms. So that's my story. Now, resources. This is where it gets cumbersome, okay? There's so many wonderful resources that Rotary International has out there that we can utilize to assist us. My suggestion is you need to really go through a vetting process to understand what's going to work best for your club. We're unique. Each club is unique. Maintain your own unique qualities if you'd like to. If you're looking to change, don't be afraid to do that. But anyway, the Rotary Club Health Check is a great opportunity and a resource. And here's this is another piece that was created by Tom Gump, who's the president-elect of D5950 from the Edina Morning Rotary Club. He put together a piece that, and this is a great, simple 10 tips to attract and retain members. Know your club's strengths. This is back to the mirror. Who are we? What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? Know that ahead of time. Create a list. I'm going to say that I want you to create a plan for membership with you and 2 or 3 other Rotary members from your club. Put together a plan, and that plan should include a list of potential recruits. And this comes back to, well, who are they? It could be anyone. Remember the slide we had of any vocation, okay? Using Rotary alumni as a potential person on your list. And it's important that you make recruiting for membership a priority in your club. We're all responsible for this because we are Rotary, each and every one of us. And we are our best salespeople. So keep that in mind, that please make recruiting a top priority in your club. If you have a letter or a brochure, I was going to say that I presented to Mounds View New Brighton, and they have a great trifold that's got bullet points that they hand out, and that's important too. So create something. It can be just a one sheet that talks about your club that you can hand out. Areas of responsibility. This goes back to when we're talking about new people into the club, making sure that you engage them and they understand what you'd like them to do, and let them tell you what they'd like to do, and then make sure you engage them and give them those opportunities. Being persistent is critical. Again, it's not a one-time ask. If you find somebody that you think is a candidate for Rotary, it might be 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 asks. When the right time is right, if the person's right, they'll be here, but you have to continuously ask them. Don't be afraid to talk about who we are. This is great stuff. It really is. We need to be proud of who we are as Rotarians and be talking about it. And again, we're service above self, so this is not in our DNA, and I realize it's awkward, okay? We don't. We're not braggarts because we are out to help other people, not ourselves. And to talk about ourselves in a braggadocious manner is kind of a counterintuitive of who we are. But we have to. We do wonderful things. Tell people about the great stuff that we do. Back to celebrating new members. Okay, I mentioned that in the inductions. Invite their families. Make it a big deal. This is continuous, guys. There's no finish line. We need to continuously be prospecting for new members all the time, and we can't lose track of that either. And then being vibrant. There's a link to what is a vibrant club. I think that change is pretty generic. I don't know. I think it depends on the club. It depends on the personality of the club. It could be a variety of different things. But back to keeping this simple, are we fun? Do we do fun things? Do people want to be here? I guess that would be my definition. Or if people want to be at my club each and every week, then I would say that yes, we're doing something right and they're feeling good about being here. We're vibrant. Tools. There are numerous tools. And Sean Berry yesterday mentioned the district website also has some great tools and links to Rotary International. MyRotary.org has these resources available. If you click on any of these links, it's going to take you to a variety of opportunities, following up on leads, to engaging new members, to connecting with prospective members. There's a ton of information. My suggestion to you is don't try to do it all. Go through this and go through a vetting process and pick 2 or 3 things and try them out and see how it goes. You're going to see this, and I'm not kidding, when you get to this website and you see all the opportunities, you know, Jesus, it's too much. I can't even digest this. So don't try to. Find something that you think will work and try it. Give it some time, and if it works, great. Build on that. Then go to another link to find another opportunity, or discontinue what you thought you were going to try and try something else. But there are wonderful, wonderful opportunities, and don't forget about our district website also has some great opportunities too. Okay, so in the end here, guys, let's make a plan, but it's important to keep it simple. If it's too cumbersome, your club's going to look at you and go, well, that's too much work. Don't go there. Make it simple. Set some goals. To get to our 3,000 by 2020, we need each of our 63 clubs a net gain. That's what we need. We need 3 or 4 members from each club, and we get to our goal. And so it's not, it's very doable. And it's really, if you dissect it that way, we need to make sure we don't lose anyone, okay? Make sure we engage with our members, pull them into the fold, and then create the plan, set a goal, and get out there and make the ask, because people are out there and we just got to do it. We got to make the ask. It's so simple, and you'll change people's lives if you do that. With that, folks, that's the end of my presentation. So we're going to open it up to questions. And again, I want to thank you all for being on today. And it's I'm hoping that this was helpful. Thank you.
Okay, this is Ed, and Vicki in Northfield had a comment. Vicki, I'm sending you the PIN number you need to enter on your phone. You should get that. She shared a couple of pieces of what they do with outbound students and the parents. And she's not quite on yet. And John Shannon has a question. I guess it's a comment. Thanks, Greg. Greg, he says, very useful.
Is that it? Was that John? I got up to grab a glass of water, sorry.
And Kyle has a comment, I think. Kyle?
Yeah, you know, Greg, you mentioned making the ask to new Rotarians, but I think it's as important to make the ask to current Rotarians about what do they want the club to look like. We talk about engaging members, and the best way to do it is give them a seat at the table and not tell them what to do, but say, hey, what do you want our club to look like? Because then they'll come up with things that interest them, make it more fun for them. I think you did a great job talking about that part. You know, the more enjoyable it is for them, well, ask them what makes it enjoyable and let the club tweak the way they do things to make the experience best for those club members, because then it makes it the better experience for them, the more likely they are to tell other people about their experience as well. So they become our best salespeople at that point.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle. So true. And doing a club, and again, keeping in mind this is a half hour, 40-minute suggestions. There's a lot of work that needs to go into this, and I want to offer this too as a resource to everyone within our district, that the membership team is here to help. And what needs to happen is, if you would like to develop a plan within your club on what do we want to look like, where do we want to go, what are we trying to do here, and you want to engage our services, please reach out, and we're happy to sit down and talk with anyone about developing that plan and strategizing on how we attain some goals. But Kyle, you're so right. It's we're in a metamorphosis here. We really are. And you look at your own club, and I've been there 20 years, but there are members in my club that have been there 35 or 40 years since the beginning, charter members. And what they're looking for today may be different than a new person in the door tomorrow. It's very important that we look in the mirror again and assess who we are, and then collectively decide which direction we want to go. So thank you, Kyle. It's that's one of the tools is a club assessment, and having a survey, and utilize that tool to ask yourselves, well, okay, where do we want to go? We had a member of our club, 70-year-old member, last night riding his bike around the lake. My wife and I were on the deck having a glass of wine, and he pulled in and said, hey, come on up. And he sat down. We had a drink and chatted for a while. And I talked about yesterday's webinar, and I talked about our club. And he says, you know, I like the Pledge of Allegiance. I like the song we do. I like the invocation. I like the, you know, and he went through a checklist of things that we do and have done for years and years and years and years. I've questioned whether or not we should sing a song each week at our club anymore, because I don't know how it's perceived by new people in the door if they're not forewarned. It's kind of antiquated. We have fun with it. it's kind of a let your hair down. But if you're brand new in the door, this is kind of a weird deal. It really is. And you see this. So whenever I bring somebody new into the club, I always lean over and, okay, hey, we're going to do this goofy song thing. Just kind of go with the flow. It's fun. Just laugh and have a good time with it. And that's what this is. But if you don't get that forewarning, it's kind of different. Anyway, so my point being here that, yes, this is just a personal conversation I had last night with one member of my club, one-on-one, in an intimate setting, to ask what's his perception of the club? Where does he want to go? What difference does it make to him? And anyhow, so yes, so that's a great starting point as you develop a plan, is look in the mirror, do an assessment of who you are, and have a good understanding of what your members want.
Okay, Vicki, I sent you the PIN number. It's #52#. If you put that in, you should be able to unmute yourself. And while she's working on that, is there anybody else with a comment or a question?
Yeah, Ed, this is Carol Weigel. I just be curious to hear some other folks from the audience talk about any one or more of the successes that they've had in their club in terms of membership, and what are some of the ideas they might like to share.
Okay, anybody up for that?
Don't all talk at one time.
They can't because they're muted.
Yeah. Carol, I think thank you. That brings up the One Rotary Summit, and Newell mentioned that last night, and I think that's a huge resource. Asking for specifics from any club, what works, what's working. We can learn from each other. So thanks for bringing that up, and I think that's information that everybody on here needs to be aware of. If you haven't attended a One Rotary Summit, it's a great opportunity to attend, and it would be best if you brought 3 or 4 members from your club, maybe that haven't been to a district event before. But that is really a creative opportunity to get together with other Rotarians from other clubs and hear them and their success stories and what they've done specifically, because that's what we need to know. We need to hear from one another and learn and leverage those successes.
Yeah, one of the things that when we do President-elect training seminars that I emphasize a whole lot is that each one of us are our own best resources. And when we meet together, as you were saying, Greg, with One Rotary Summit, which is really, it's a fun kind of thing. You get to meet a whole bunch of new people, get new ideas. But there again, if somebody else has a great idea, for heaven's sakes, take it, use it. They are not, they're not personally bound by some other thing that says, no, you can't use my same idea that I have. No, that's what we're all about, is being able to share and taking advantage of somebody else's good idea, and they taking advantage of what our good idea might be. So it's always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would agree with Greg that, I would highly encourage everybody to attend at least one of the One Rotary Summits. They are fun. You have an opportunity to learn how membership, the Public Image and Rotary Foundation all work together, not only in Rotary International and in our district, but certainly in your club. So again, good ideas.
Kathy Inglesrud sends a comment here. We have a rainmaker who's been incredibly successful bringing in members. Perhaps clubs who have people who are superstars could interview them to share.
Sure.
Yeah, that's, I think, Kathy, yes. Each club needs a champion of a membership, and you have to have the right personality there. I think some of us are not inclined to engage others. It's just not our comfort zone, maybe. And again, it's how I got to be the membership chair here, the district. In my club, we were, my president was 14-15. I think, if I'm correct on that, Carol, you were governor.
Yes.
That's right. Okay.
I think that's correct.
I found that we were underwater with our finances. Our membership had been slipping, and it got down to, when I took over, 68 members in my club. My first board meeting, I was sent a invoice to the district from our executive secretary for about $4,000 that we didn't have enough in the checking account to pay. And she was asking me right out of the chute, my first board meeting, hey, Greg, we don't have enough money in the checking account. How are we going to pay this? And I thought, my gosh, what's this all about? I did it, and I do this professionally. This is what I do. I do analysis of businesses, I do business planning, that kind of thing. So I did a review of the Wiper Lake Rotary, and understood after I did a quick review that our revenue from our membership was insufficient, and for our overhead, our fixed costs were too much, and we either changed our fixed cost, or we had to increase our revenue somehow. And so we had an emergency meeting, and we got together and we talked about raising dues. And I said, you know what? I'm not there yet. I'm going to do everything I can to increase our membership, because that's our revenue source. And I did my analysis and realized that our membership had to be at 73. That's to break even. We had a salaried executive secretary in our club, and the other overhead that we had, and our number was 73, and we were at 68. I needed 5 more members to break even, and I was on a mission to do that. And when I left that year, our membership was 80. So I surpassed the 5, and I added an additional 7 more, and we had a net 12 gained. And but anyway, I championed that because I had to. I didn't know it at the time, but we needed members. And then what I did was I made it very personal. If I had anybody that showed up to a meeting, a guest walked in the door for whatever reason, if they found us on the website or somebody told us about them, they came in, I had our executive secretary get their email address and phone number. And within 1 hour of that meeting, I contacted that person. That was my own deal. I just shot him a note, or I called him and said, hey, thanks so much for being there. We really enjoyed having you there. I'd be happy to sit down and have a cup of coffee and tell you more about who we are. And that approach, that personal touch, that approach was very helpful. And I didn't get everybody. There were some that, when I sat down, I said, this isn't for everyone, but here's who we are, and here's what we have to offer. And if you're interested, we'd love to have you back and join us. Anyway, you do need that person. So Kathy, thanks for mentioning that. You got to have a champion in your club that can step up and be that personal connection, maybe to anyone that comes in the door. Very important.
Greg, Carrie McGee down in Winona says, I really like the idea of going back to the youth exchange participants, and I think we're finally able to unmute Vicki Dilly to kind of explain what she has going on. Vicki, are you on?
I think I'm on. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Take it away.
Oh, good. Oh, good. So we calculate that we have over 30%, it's probably even a little bit more than that, our membership, which is now up to 147. About 30% of those came through youth exchange over the years, and yeah. I came in through youth exchange, but we haven't been very deliberate until just recently. And last year, the youth exchange officer created a packet. It's really nice, attractive packet that has some things in it. One is a more permanent name tag. So this is an open invitation to the host families to come to the meetings and check us out and get a free lunch and learn a little bit more about us. There's a letter there from the president on letterhead that's welcoming them and thanking them for hosting. But we also do something very similar for all of our outbound families to encourage them to join. Just this last 2 weeks, I think it was, we had a husband-wife couple join that have been hosting, and so they're going to be new members, they are new members now. So I think just being very deliberate, and as somebody said, sometimes you have to ask 5 times, and so I think continue to ask them and encourage them and see. I think also in finding out what they're interested in, but youth exchange is a really wonderful gateway into the club, and then they come in and find out that there's much more than just youth exchange, but plenty of room to be on a youth exchange committee too. So I sent that packet to Ed and Paul, and if you want to use that in any way you can, share it with other clubs, please do so. Even if if you've got one, or if you've got one inbound student, you've got 3 host families that you can be inviting every year.
Great idea. Yeah, thank you, Vicki. I was going to ask for that packet, so please, gentlemen, if you could pass that on to everybody maybe on the call, that would be helpful. That'd be great. Great idea.
We can certainly send that out. And Carrie, did you want to say anything more, or? And Carrie, you're self-muted if you want to join us. maybe not. Anybody else, or? That may be all we've got for questions then tonight, Greg and Paul. So
Very good. Well, again, I guess I'd like to say just thank you again to you all for being on. It's very important. It shows your interest and you understand the importance of members. And this is, again, Rotary is us. And we are Rotary. So let's keep that in mind and go out and if you need some help, please reach out to the district again, and we can present to your club, or if you have a small group within your club you'd like to meet with to spend some additional time, we're happy to help you develop a plan to assist in growth in your membership. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Paul, did you want to say anything?
Yes, sure. Yes, thank you, Greg, for presenting and for all the good ideas. Thank you, Ed, for facilitating, and thank you everyone else for participating and sharing, and hopefully it was worthwhile. The webinars are being recorded, and so we can send that out, and we're also looking at doing other webinars on the different areas, membership, public image, and foundation throughout the year on very specific topics. So if you want to hear more about something on membership or the other two areas, just let us know, and we're happy to set those up. And it's good to get together and do these, but to be able to do it remotely is excellent as well, and very forgiving of everyone's time. But I do appreciate you being on tonight.
And with that, I think we will close this evening. Again, as Greg and Paul have said, thank you very much for attending, being part of this, and we'll catch you all again at another time and date. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thanks, Ed.